financing partner. And because I've got this partner, they've taken away the pain of worrying about cash flow. Then you can focus on what you really need to do. I would recommend Lululend at any point in time.
Dex Prepare. Make bookkeeping more profitable. Prepare your accounts automatically. Hours saving software to automatically fetch all your business data into one single view. Connect to over 1,400 suppliers to automatically fetch invoices, statements and bills. Dex Prepare.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining. I'm Tom Stewart, Chief Marketing Officer at Lululend. And on behalf of everyone at OnlineX and Lululend, I'd like to welcome you to this fifth and sadly final webinar in the Business Finance Bootcamp. The good news is, though, we're ending on a real high with a fascinating discussion on measurement and reporting. And what gets measured is what gets done is a mantra I live by. So I'm really looking forward to hearing more about the top 5 reports business owners should be looking at, how technology can help you with your reporting, and how to assess your financial health. So I'll hand over to today's host now, Nicole from PKF Ignite, to kick us off. Nicole, take us away.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks so much. Hi, everyone. Thank you. Like Tom said, thank you for joining us at this final session, Metrics that Facilitate Growth. I think this whole series has been amazing for business owners, and I'm sure you guys will get a lot of value. So my name's Nicole Rousseau. I'm co-founder and head of PKF Ignite, which is a bespoke accounting solution. I've been in the industry for 20 plus years and in this digital space since about 2016. I think it's been really exciting to be part of this industry with all the technology advancements that's been happening. We can really add value to our clients. So I'm very excited to be here and introduce you to our 2 amazing speakers. We've got Damien Baker, who is a manager at S&G Grant Thornton in the client division, and then Vangelis Kyriakis, co-founder of Sift Analytics. So I'm going to let the guys introduce themselves. So Van, will you please introduce yourself? Tell everybody a bit about yourself.
Perfect. Thanks, Nicole. Lovely to be here today, and thanks to Lululend for putting this series together, to OnlineX as well as the sponsors Dext and Sage. I'm Vangelis Kyriakis, Van for short, nice and easy. I know not the easiest name, but I co-founded a business called Sift Analytics, and essentially we're an app that allows businesses to understand their accounting data and to utilize that accounting data to make better decisions. Like yourself, Nicole, and Damien, I've also been an accountant in practice, so I've experienced those challenges with businesses firsthand, across a range of industries, and that was sort of led us to the founding of Sift to try help businesses interact with their accounting data better and make decisions using it.
Great. Thank you. Damien?
Hi everyone, as stated before, I am Damien Baker. I'm a manager at S&G Grant Thornton in the accounting division. And in the division that I'm in, we specifically focus on small businesses, helping them establish proper accounting practices through various accounting technologies. And my passion lies with the small businesses, helping them unlock their potential for growth and making sure that they thrive in this current environment. And I absolutely love working with the small businesses. And let's see what we can do today to give them some clarity into how to report effectively. All right, thanks.
Amazing. Thank you, guys. As you can see, you guys are in good hands. We've got a wealth of knowledge, so I'm sure everybody will take something away. So as we mentioned today, we're going to be talking about all things reporting and why it's critical for business owners to understand their financial reports, to know which reports you should be looking at in your business, and how this information can actually facilitate that growth or assist you to reach your business goals. So Vanessa, I think if I kick off with you, and guys, you can please, let's keep it conversational, jump in at any stage. But Van, if I can start with you, why do you think it's so important for business owners to have up-to-date financial reporting, and why must they understand it? Because I think often business owners might look at it and they purely think, oh, I need to see how much cash I've got in the bank. Do I owe SARS any money? I don't think they always understand the impact it can have on the business or on their decision-making ability.
Perfect, Nicole. I think you've touched on a few points there. And I think historically, let's say 5 to 10 years ago, a lot of accounting and sort of the books used to be something that was more for SARS, more for your annual returns, more for the bank, not something a business owner would really look at, extract management information from, and use it to sort of make decisions with. As times have evolved, the sort of financial realm or this accounting data has become much closer to, or much more easily accessible for the business owner. So it's sort of at their fingertips, and using that data can help you make better decisions in your business. Now, the decisions can range from, let's look at our historic data of what's happening and see how we can change course based on what's happened, or using our historic data, how can we forecast or project sort of future performance. So there's a few ways that this accounting data starts to become valuable to a business owner if they can utilize it, if they can access it, and also getting it in a more timely manner, which I think we'll talk to throughout the session.
Absolutely. Damien, is there anything you'd like to add?
Nicole, as what everyone stated before, it's of utmost importance, and it's that old saying that goes, if you can't measure something, how can you manage it? So if you don't have an effective way of actually measuring the actual performance inside of a company, it's going to become incredibly difficult to actually manage the day-to-day performance. So if you have valuable financial data at your fingertips, it is so easy to actually manage your income, your expenditure, and keep track of it. So yes, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So those are my comments on that. Thanks.
Yeah, I think it's so critical. I think the potential of the insights that one can get from financial reporting is very understated. People purely look at it as a compliance issue and don't realize the insights. So, Damien, we've spoken about how important it is. So, would you say, is it critical for a business to have a fully set up accounting system, or the dreaded Excel spreadsheet to kind of run the day-to-day operations? I bet you have a lot to say on that.
So Nicole, let's be honest. I'm an Excel fanatic. I absolutely love Excel. It saves you time if you use it effectively, but let's be realistic. To keep your accounting records in a zero-based environment, in an Excel-based environment, is not effective. So we need to look at certain systems like Xero, Sage 1, QuickBooks Online, to have actually valuable accounting packages set up so that you could actually have a tool that does most of the processing for you. For example, if you have it all set up in Excel, you're sitting in a situation now that you have to manually build it. You have to manually keep track of it. And as the poll came up here, most people on this call don't have time to produce reports. So now if you're sitting in an environment whereby which you're doing everything in Excel, it is incredibly labor-intensive work that you have to do to generate specific reports. But now if you make use of an accounting system, I would say it's of the utmost importance that you actually set up your company using an effective accounting tool. Because it's not just a compliance aspect, it is a business management tool. So once you have this accounting package set up, you can utilize this tool to manage the day-to-day operations in your business. What is your sales looking like? What is the expenditure looking like? What is my asset values? It is a tool that's going to utilize you to actually manage it. And guys, we have solutions out there that you can actually keep track of things on your cell phone. And it's not this whole labor-intensive process that you have to have a dedicated server in a room locked up somewhere. We have to back up stuff. Guys, it's on a cell phone. It's on a tablet. You log in onto your laptop. You can have the information anywhere where you are in the world. It is not bound to one specific location. And that's why I'm adamant that accounting systems need to be set up for your company. It is the best way for you to keep track of what's going on a daily basis. And as a business owner, you want to know, is your investment being treated correctly, and are you tracking it effectively? So yes, Nicole, I'm all for a proper accounting system. And I'm not hating Excel. There is place for it, but not in that environment.
Yeah, spot on. And I mean, as business owners, we want you guys to focus on running your business, growing that business. You shouldn't be bogged down by admin. And like Damien said, the Excel has manual errors. It's labor intensive. So why do it if you don't need to? So 100% agree with you. So if we go to the reporting side of things, which is why we're here today, Van, what reports would you recommend a business owner to look at? So I suppose, not all business owners are accountants. They might be looking at reports and they don't even know what they're looking at. So, can you kind of give them some guidance on which report to look at, what the benefit is, and how it will assist them?
Yeah, sure, Nicole. I think there's a whole host of reports, and you probably have been sort of scared away from balance sheets and profit and losses over the years. They're too technical, they're jargony, and at the end of the day, are you getting any useful information out of that? I think any business owner should focus on some of the basics, some of the key metrics. Things are like sales, and I'll talk to reports for this as well. Sales, tracking sales, whether it's week over week, month over month. Your cash balance, very, very important. Tracking that either weekly or monthly. You want to be able to answer questions. Will I run out of money? Can I cover payroll? Who owes me money? Things like that. So that talks to my next point, debtors or customer balances. Who owes you money and how long have they owed you that money for? So you obviously want to be collecting money as quickly as possible and not letting it get sort of too stale over a long period of time. Other sort of things that you may want to track, who you owe money to. So whether it's either the tax man or to various suppliers, that you might not be looking at as regularly because you probably have a good sense of it. Maybe that's a little bit more on a monthly basis. And yeah, from those, it's kind of tailors, if these are the key metrics that we want to look at, Nicole, what report should we look at to get those metrics? So it doesn't have to be a balance sheet and a profit and loss. You can tailor your reports, or you want to go with reports that gives you this information like really quickly, really high level. Now, we spoke about sales first up. If you want to look at sales over time, it's great to see that in sort of a graph, my monthly sales or my weekly sales. If it's graphical, you can see a trend and you can also compare periods to prior periods. So visualizing your sales can be quite helpful from that perspective. And a lot of your sort of online cloud accounting platforms will do that. You'll get little graphs of those numbers. We spoke about cash and cash balance. So looking at your cash balance, whether it's weekly, I would recommend weekly, so getting that from perhaps once again at the graphical representation, so you can see it over time, and you'll get this in your online platforms like your Sage One, your Xero, your QuickBooks Online. Other than that, we also spoke about who owes you money. Debtors, so who owes you money and how long have they owed you money for? Now, this one's a little bit more accounting-y. It's the sort of age receivables or age analysis. It's nice to see which customers owe you money, their contact details, and how long they've owed you that money for. Is it multiple sort of periods that they've owed you money for? And lastly, the flip side of that, who you owe money to. So that just gives you a little bit of insight around those. I don't know, Damien, if you want to add on a few more to some of the reports and metrics that business owners should be looking at.
Vangelis, you will swear we're in the same industry because we want to speak about the same type of reports. So yes, I agree with you fully. A sales report is a very valuable report to look at. And when I sit down with my clients and we have a look at their sales reports, obviously we look at the sales trend. What does your sales look like month on month? But then there's also specific reports that you can actually pull that actually tells you how many of your customers are returning back to the business. For example, you've had a customer that's been coming to you every single month for the last 10 years, and now all of a sudden, why is this customer not coming back? So that gives you valuable business insight as to maybe I should pick up the phone and give this customer a call and say, listen, customer X, what's going on? Is there any issue with the servicing? So that's where a sales report is quite valuable. And then obviously the debtor's age, the creditor's age. So what I refer to about a debtor's age is the customer balances. Which of your customers owe you money? And this is quite important because let's be honest, cash is king. And the longer that money gets taken to be paid back into your bank account, the impact it's got on your cash flow. And obviously your creditors as well. You need to know who you owe money to. And that's why creditors age analysis is so important for me when I discuss with my clients. You need to know what your credit terms are with all of your clients. For example, if a client does offer you 60-day credit terms, why are you settling that in 10 days? Unless there's a settlement discount option. So that's why that report is so important, that you can start timing when what has to be paid. Then another report I like to sit and look with my clients is the expense reports, to see how their expenses look like on a month-to-month basis, where they are overspending compared to their budgets, and where they're currently underspending. So it gives the business owner a valuable insight to see actually what's going on their daily expenses, because that's one area of the business that they can actually keep quite a tight control over as to what's going on the expenditure side. Then another report I like to, first of all, just start looking at is the profit and loss, so that you have an overall understanding of what your company is doing well and doing like at a profitability point of view. Then the other one that's also a fantastic report that I enjoy looking at is the short-term cash flow forecasts, to actually know, am I going to have enough money at the end of this month to pay salaries, to meet my creditors' obligations? That report is such a valuable insight that it provides to my clients. And obviously you have to have your proper accounting system set up so you can actually rely on those reports. And we've made use of amazing software called Swift Analytics that gives us valuable insight to this for our clients. And yeah, those are my inputs on the reports that I look at for business owners that aren't very financially literate, but they understand the impact of these reports on their business. So yeah, I don't know what you have to say about that, Nicole.
So, guys, sorry, I see that we did post it in a chat, but yeah, please feel free. Sorry, I forgot to mention that, to post your questions. I'll kind of monitor it while we go and pose it to Damien and Van. So I think I'll jump in with one. So one question that we got, guys, is a lot of data is simply too complicated for non-financial business owners. How do we just extract the nuggets that help us build insights to help us run our businesses? And I think, Van, this is probably something like your product.
You're right. It's a challenge. We don't want to overwhelm you with accounting, with these terms that are too much at times. I think it's about starting small. We've talked a lot about accounting data and financial reports, Damien and myself now, and we can also talk a little bit about operational reports. I think it's always important when you looking at data, if just basic sort of data analysis is sort of trends, what's happened, like looking backwards, comparatives, so trying to see where things are going, and then you can do that by visualizing that data. So really important to try get stuff visual, because it's easier to understand, it's easier to see trends, it's easier to see seasonality. So Nicole, we spoke a lot now on that accounting data, financial reports. I think that's complemented maybe with a little bit of operational data. So although you're not going to have this in your accounting system before things are sort of become sales, and before someone owes you money, and before you owe a supplier money, there are other operational systems that can also complement your accounting systems. Things like your CRM, your Google Analytics, well, CRM mean customer relationship management software, the way you engage with your customers. Google Analytics tracking website visitors. Perhaps if you take bookings, if you're a hotel or a spa and you take bookings, the number of bookings. So all of these other indicators can also combine before it becomes sales to give you an indication of, will my sales in the next month be as high as they were in this month? So there's some lead indicators, which are operational type data, which you can get from other systems. And it's also important to keep track of those. I don't know if I've answered your question perfectly, though. I've kind of given you a lot there, but
no, it's perfect. And I think, guys, what we're getting at is with all these new tools that's available, it's not a massive admin exercise. If you're using cloud tools like Xero, Dext, Swift Analytics, it's literally at a click of a button. You just need to know what you need to look at, that you'll get this information. Because I think the other question was, can't my accountant just look at the data and give it to me? That's what I pay them for. And absolutely. But I think especially now during this pandemic, with COVID, and that it's important for business owners to have control of their businesses and actually look at it on a daily basis. You might not drill down into all the reports, but you want to know what's going on in your business every day in order to run it at its optimal level. And I think that's kind of where this change comes in and showing you guys what to look at.
Yeah,
Damien,
go for it, Damien.
No, Damien, what would you say?
Nicole, yeah, I can't stress this more, how important it is actually to have an appropriate accounting system. And yes, maybe I'm a bit biased here, but I am a pro cloud-based accounting solution specialist, and I believe it's the best way to go forward. And let's take it back to basics. I know most people on the call might have played Legos in their days. And I see the cloud accounting tool as that big green Lego sheet that you have, and then you can plug and push other things on top and you can build from there. So at its core, we have to have an accounting system. And then there's so many different other applications that plug into it that just gives you so much more valuable insight. And like Vangelis has mentioned, some of these insights can come even before it even is an accounting transaction, like Google's analytics. What a valuable tool that is for a company. And it's not a complicated thing to set up. You can see what traffic is coming to your website with Google Ads. You can see how effective your ad campaign is on Google and how many of your actual clicks lead to sales. So it is just a bit of reading up on Google Ads. Literally, I've helped my one client. They literally sat about for half an hour reading a few things, and they had a Google ad campaign running, and it's costing, it's probably like 1,500 to 1,600 rand a month. And they're getting valuable hits to their website. They're getting calls. They're getting email inquiries. And it's not that complicated. So yes, there's a lot of metrics to look at, and this whole thing can be a bit overwhelming for some people, but start off with the basics. Have a foundation of where your information is lying, and then you've got other plugins that assist you to build on that data that you have. And like I said, there is valuable software out there that is actually relatively inexpensive. If we look at, for example, what Sift Analytics does. Guys, you can run a set of valuable management accounts with a few clicks of the buttons, and it makes it very simple. It's user-friendly to actually interpret your financial data. These reports aren't in a situation now that it's like typical just numbers dumped on a page. It's graphical. It shows you color coding. It just makes it very easy for business owners to understand. So yes, Nicole, that's from my side.
Yeah, and I think you've touched on it now, you and Van, and I think, Van, if I bring it into that, we've got all this stuff available, these dashboard analytics that is presented not in the old-fashioned accounting way, like you were talking now about accounting terminology, operational technology. It would, for instance, tell, like Damien was saying, it would tell you how many leads have been converted, what your reps doing, where are they kind of in their pipeline, things like that. So Van, if you had to think of 5 key metrics for business owners to track, what would those be? Would it be industry specific? I know each business is unique. Everybody is different. But is there, 5 key metrics that you would kind of advise the guys to look at, and maybe how often should they look at it? Because I think that's the other problem. Is it something I should be doing once a month? Must I be doing it daily, weekly? What is the process?
Sounds good. I think it is going to be industry specific, but let's sort of start like right at the top. If we think of it as sort of like a big funnel, Nicole, like right at the top, we're trying to get leads. We're trying to get people to our business. We're trying to get people on our website. We're trying to get people in the door. So tracking number of leads, whether that's on a monthly basis, and then tracking that over time is a great, for same word, lead indicator of like future business. So let's track number of people in the walk-ins, number of email inquiries, number of conversations we've had, number of potential deals, number of website visitors, right at the top, sort of leads, and we can track that really basic. We can count the number of emails, We can have, if we don't have any other systems, count number of emails, count number of phone calls, count potential deals. Let's get something at the top that kind of gives us what future sales could be. So that's number one, number of leads. Number two, very directly related to leads, would be sales. So how many of these leads are we converting into a sale, and what's sort of the value of that sale? And then let's track those sales month on month. Now that could be from the accounting software. Maybe you can have a report of invoices this month, invoices last month, invoices the month before, or maybe you're tracking it in Excel, back to our old favorite tool, sales in Excel, and you're just summing up 10 times 500 Rand and we're on 5,000. So we've got leads, we've got sales. Important from there, I would say cash balance. We need to start paying expenses out of things. So that cash balance metric, I'll keep coming back to it, but tracking that on a weekly basis would be my suggestion. Look at your bank account week on week. I know, once again, when it's in numbers in a statement, it doesn't give you much, but see, practically could help. So maybe if you're getting that from your accounting software, it could help. I know some of the banks these days, I think Saspin's got like a little graph in your bank account, which is quite cool. So you can see like your bank balance, and that gives you the trend and comparatives over time. Another metric to track. So I guess if we're thinking more accounting side, I kind of keep coming back to it, but sort of who you owe money to, or tax or VAT. Some guys overextend themselves and then they've got this VAT bill to pay every 2 months and they've spent that money. So kind of keeping track of your VAT bill, even though it's every 2 months for most companies, maybe looking at that every 2 weeks or monthly. So when you have to pay it in 2 months' time, you still have the money for it, or things along those lines. So I'm on 4. I do need another one. maybe Damien, you want to jump in and help me out?
All right, then, Gilles. So another one so I've had a long think about the 5 metrics that business owners have to have a look at now. And to be honest, my answer has changed in the last couple of months. And to be honest, why I'm saying that is, guys, let's be realistic. COVID is a massive impact on companies. And my metrics that I've been discussing with my clients is purely cash focused. How we can retain cash in the business, how we maintain cash effectively. And the reports that I specifically look at for my clients and metrics is, for example, my debtors days, my creditors days, my gross profit percentage, my stock turnover, and my current asset ratio. And I'll go into more detail about that. And the reason why I'm mentioning the debtors days, your customers, you've got a 30-day credit term, 15-day credit term. It's valuable to look into that. My credit terms are 30 days. Now, why am I sitting all of a sudden at the stage where my credit terms are 45, 50, 60 days? This has got a direct impact on my cash flow. And business owner might have to pick up their phone and just maybe start phoning some of the customers and find out what's actually going on. Because the sooner we can get that funds into our bank account, the more effective it is for our cash management. Then obviously by our creditors as well. If our credit terms are 60 days, you want to see your creditors' days at 60 days to make sure that you maximizing that opportunity that you have to reserve cash flow and paying it out as and when it is needed. Then our GP percentage. I know this is a very accounting term, but the benefit for me in a GP percentage is if there's major fluctuations month to month on our gross profit percentage, there's an indication that maybe there's over expenditure when it comes to my operations. Maybe there's wastage in my company. Maybe my sales prices aren't 100% correct at this stage. So as a business owner, I've sat down with them and actually had a look at their gross profit percentage month on month. And in certain circumstances, we can actually pick up that there is wastage in the company, that we are wasting unnecessarily, and we can cut it down and save there. Stock turnover, guys, yes. Stock is brilliant. We need it in our company. But if you start spending a lot of money to keep stock, let's say you've got 2 months supply, 3 months supply worth of stock, that is actual cash that is locked up in your business. And you can only utilize that once it's sold again. So let's optimize the stock levels in the company to make sure we maintain effective cash flow. Then the other one that I mentioned is the current asset ratio. especially in these tough times, we're finding ourselves that we need to jump in and get funding from banks. And then we're sitting in a situation where our current asset ratio is that not that hot, that our assets is actually less than our liabilities. It's going to become difficult for us to actually obtain funding in the company. So Vangelis, those are the 5 things that I currently look at with my clients just to help them reserve cash flow.
And aren't you guys also finding, Damien, especially like you were mentioning now, with this predicament we find ourselves, I'm so sick of using the word COVID and pandemic.
Yes.
It's just our reality now, whatever it is. But I'm finding that it's also becoming more and more important to support our clients, our business owners, our fellow SMEs in planning. They need to plan further ahead. So there's a lot more focus on doing those projections and for a longer period of time.
Mm. And Nicole, you know what's nice about that is with the software that we currently have on the market in South Africa, some of these reports are predictive. So we're finding situations that based on historical trends, we can actually start predicting what our trends look like in the company based on our payment terms of our customers and our creditors and all of that. You can actually fairly accurately predict what your cash flows are going to look like in the next few months to come. And as a business owner, that can be fundamentally powerful for you to actually see what's going on. Then on your predictions, oh my greatness, I'm sitting in a situation, I might not have enough funds available at the end of the month to maybe pay my staff. Then, for example, look at Lulaland. There's a situation that you can potentially contact them and say, guys, I'm in a bit of a cash short flow issue this month. Let's see what we can do to help out. And that's where those predictive reports is really effective.
I think tying that in, Damien, to what you said earlier, the benefits of moving to a cloud-based system over Excel is Excel was siloed, we're doing everything in like a vacuum. But now we connect these cloud systems to other things. And I know it's been discussed in the series previously, but if we've got our bank flowing into our accounting system, we invoicing in our accounting system, the data in our accounting system becomes much more real time, much more, if I look at it today, it's today's numbers. Gone are the days of 3 weeks later after month end, getting a report from your accountant, and then you're already the next month and you're looking at the prior month. It doesn't help you. We need real-time data to have that real-time forecasting. And I think that's where we are now. The ability to do that, which only comes from using a system that is integrated, that's kept up to date, that has a bit of automation in it, and that also connects some of the operational side of your business. So invoicing, quotes in the same accounting system, rather than having that disconnect of Excel and then bank statements and everything not really talking to one another.
Yes, there's absolutely no way to make an informed business decision, be proactive instead of reactive, and kind of spotting problem areas before it becomes a business threat or a compliance issue. If you're not on one of these cloud platforms, it's unfortunately just not possible. And now I'm going to put you both on the spot. It's a question that's come in. So I'm going to narrow it down because the question says 3 to 5, but I'm going to say 3 because you have to pick your most important ones. What are the 3 must-have reports that you guys think business owners should be looking at without compromise? So always, irrespective of industry, what 3 reports must they always look at?
Tough one.
Yeah, on the spot, yeah, see.
I would say regardless of industry, sales, month on month, I've said it multiple times, but it's kind of the guiding number. If sales is going up, the business is doing better, everything's doing better. If sales is going down, there's problems, you have to control expenses. Like a guiding principle is to increase profits, increase sales, rather than reduce costs is my favorite. So sales month over month, whether that's a graph, whether it's your profit and loss statement, look at that. Who owes you money? Customer balances. You can't let that get out of hand. Look at it weekly, follow up, make sure you're on top of your debtors. And lastly, it would be some form of cash flow statement, cash flow forecast that Damien mentioned, or even just cash balance trend over time. If you've got it, if it's easy to get, if it's available in your systems, but just monitor that bank balance, monitor how it moves towards month end when you have to pay payroll. So those would be my three: sales, debtors, cash, and reports that help you with those.
Okay, well, thanks for stealing all of mine, Vangelis. But in any ways, so I'll just reiterate that. Obviously, sales is of the utmost importance because sales is the core of your business. Without sales, you don't have a business. So on that is look at the sales report on a month-to-month basis. And on that, when you look at the sales report, also see if you can look at your customer retention. Which of your customers are returning? Because the best place to get additional sales is from old clients that you already have. It's difficult to get new sales from a new customer. It is more expensive. Marketing has to go in. Keep your current customer base happy and tap into that. Check the ones that haven't had some sales in the last couple of weeks or months and touch back and see where they are. Then the other one, as Vangelis has mentioned, your debtors, your customer balances. It's of utmost importance to keep a fine-tooth comb on that one. Check it on a weekly basis, because if your customer is paying on 30 days, follow up on day 29 what's going on. And guys, this can be automated. There's automated email reminders that can go out. Dear client so-and-so, please note that invoice number so-and-so attached above is due in the next 2 days. So that also improves sales after return on your cash significantly. And these tools are automated. Then I would also reiterate the fact about look at your cash flow forecasts, especially with the times that we're finding ourselves in. Your cash flow for short term is of utmost importance. Make sure that you've got enough cash flow for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and there's brilliant reports that you can run to see what's going on your cash flow. So yes, similar to Vangelis, but it is incredibly important because those 3 reports guides your business activity on a daily basis.
Agreed.
Super valuable advice. Super valuable. I 100% agree. I know business owners don't always know where to start because they don't know what they need to be looking at, guys, but that's it. It always sounds more complicated than it is. And Damien and Van has just broken it down into a really simple operational level for you guys to look at. It's absolutely spot on what you need to be looking at. And if we move it a little bit further along, I'll come back to the tech. Or maybe let me address the tech now, seeing as we're talking about it a bit. So Damien, we're all in this digital space. We all love cloud. We see the benefit, but maybe can you explain to the business owners how tech, because we've got all these components, how tech can help them get these reports, get these insights in a way they understand and at the intervals they need it.
Nicole, yes. So tech I know tech is a scary word for everyone, but let's keep it simple here. We're all using cell phones these days. We all have our emails on our cell phones. We all use applications on our phones. Look at the accounting environment as we are finding it now as an application-based environment. So on your cell phone, you can have an accounting application, you can have a reporting application, and it's that simplified. Literally, the technology is not such a scary aspect. It's not these massive reports that you have to go for copious amounts of training to start using. Guys, if you can manage Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, I am fairly confident you can go play around on these applications and actually pull effective reports. Like I can log onto my cell phone now and see my customer balances. And then you can actually click on that customer and phone him directly from the application. So that is where we are. Technology is so simplified at this point in time, yet it is complex in its structure and everything, but for the end user, it is simplified. And what we need to understand now, this technology that we're talking about has changed fundamentally in the last couple of years. Accounting systems were previously set up for accountants to use by accountants. The accounting software now is set up for the business owner to use it. The terminologies and everything has changed to be business owner orientated instead of accountant orientated. So it is quite simplified for the business owner. Thanks.
Yeah, and I think they've made it so platforms like Zero, they've made it really easy for the business owner because we all realize, and I think that's something that's come up, not having the time to spend on admin. So they've really, all these cloud applications make it really easy for you to kind of work on the go. Like Damien said, just being able to quickly, if you add a client, you've seen your client, you can do the quote on your mobile while you're still there. Things like that. So even though the word technology might seem daunting, it's exactly as Damien said, it's not. And they've made it so easy that there is nothing you can't do with it.
I think just to add on to that, Nicole and Damien, so we've got all this technology out there. It's become much easier to use, really good looking stuff. Click a button, sends the invoice, lots of automation, automatic email reminders to your debtors, these bank feeds that are fully automated. So I think it's just about getting into them, clicking around on a few things. You can't break too much. Gone are the days. I was fortunate, Nicole and Damien, I missed the whole desktop accounting. I only started my cloud accounting career.
You're lucky.
2016. I missed desktop, I missed Excel. All I've known is invoicing in the cloud, sending it off, all the automation. So I'm glad I skipped out on that phase. I did see there was a question as well in the chat from one of our participants around forecasting and like, is there software available for that for a startup business? Sometimes it is difficult to do good forecasts when you're very, very sort of new. You know, it's like, do you like a platform also needs like some data to work with before it can start predicting for you, Branwell. So yeah, difficult to recommend specifically one. I'd recommend our own software, but there are others out there as well. Brand new, it's maybe to do something you'd need like drivers for your business. If you're a startup business, like how many products will you sell and at what price to get your sales? But it is always difficult to do forecasts, especially over the long term. The longer a forecast goes, the more unreliable it is. And when you don't have any data to forecast with as a startup, even more difficult to make that forecast accurate.
And now with things being so unpredictable, kind of what advice would you give people to do this projection? It's a very hard time.
Yeah, I think
normal trends almost don't apply.
From my thinking with like sort of this projection, and Damien, you've stressed it multiple times around cash flow forecasting, a short-term cash flow forecast. You know, what goes into that? It's kind of, let's start with my bank balance, and my bank balance today, I'm going to add to it invoices that are due, invoices that we are expecting. Am I going to collect all of those invoices? Yes, no. When will I collect them? So you'll have money in. Then you've got money out. Who do I owe money to? As well as my typical money out, like payroll and things like that. So my creditors. So money in is invoices coming in. Money out is who do I owe money to and payroll. So try start with just that. I mean, even if it is something really simple around today's bank balance, invoices due from customers, 100,000 Rand, money due at month end, 50,000 on salaries and 20,000 on expenses. You're like, okay, I've got enough money to sort of make the month. Just a few key numbers there, I think, could be the start of that cash flow forecast. Keep it simple to begin with. It doesn't need to be, forecasting is a tricky business. The more things you add to it, the more complicated it gets. Keep it short term and keep it simple is my guidance.
Yeah, and I think it's exactly like you said. I mean, in this cloud platform, so like Zero, it's got a short-term cash flow. Your application, Sift Analytics, has got amazing projection abilities, guys. And these platforms do not come at a massive cost. I think that's also important to note when you move into this cloud environment, that IT infrastructure cost completely falls away. You go completely paperless. So there are a lot of solutions out there to assist a business owner do some kind of a basic forecast if you knew and you're kind of starting out. So there's definitely options out there in the market. And if we kind of move on a bit, so like we said earlier, we all need to do financial statements, guys. It's part of the compliance aspect. And often I think business owners think, oh, I do it because I have to do it for SARS, and they might just only look at their profit, their bank balance, and do I owe SARS money? That's always important to know. Am I having to pay SARS any money? What would you say if you had to sit with a set of financials with your clients? What do they need to look out for?
Yo, Nicole, I'm going to say something that's probably a bit unpopular now. I believe financial statements have become unnecessarily complicated and incredibly long for no reason. It is giving us, yes, and we have to comply with the international financial reporting standards and IFRS for SME. We have to comply with that. But let's be realistic. It is overwhelming for some people to look at the financial statements. There is pages and pages and pages of information before you even get to the income statement, the balance sheet, and all of that. Like literally today, I had a discussion with my client, and what I do is the first few things that I look at, I go directly to the profit and loss statement, and I look at what's going on with the revenue. What did your revenue do from the prior year to the current year? But what we also need to understand, it's at a specific point in time. So we're looking at the 2021 financial statements now. That is February already. That's almost 6 months ago's worth of information. Yes, it is valuable to see what your historical trends and everything is, but it's historical information. But like I said, we have to get them done. It's for compliance purposes. So I'll sit with my client and look at the revenue, see what happened to the prior year, look at your expenses, look at the gross profit percentage that I've discussed previously, look at your net profit, and then what's critically important, what my clients are worried about is their tax expense and their tax liability. So that's the first thing that all clients want to actually have a look at. And then when I go to the balance sheet, where I actually look at is my assets versus my liabilities. Are we sitting in a situation that my business is in a positive net asset value situation? That means I've got more assets in my books versus liabilities. And if we're in that situation, it means that your company is in a good financial health situation. And funding should not be a problem in those circumstances. And that's honestly what I look at when I sit and discuss it with my clients. But to be more realistic, I think proper management accounts on a monthly basis at this stage is adding more value because it is current live data. Financials at this stage is a compliance aspect, but they are very important for a company because you're not going to find funding or anything without any financial statements. So that's my comments.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think you can add so much value or help the business owner and really having that one meeting a month. It can be a 30-minute health check, going through the health of his business, like you were saying, discussing his day-to-days. I think that's a lot more important for the business owners than having to look at these financial statements. And I think that almost kind of brings me to the next question. So there's been some questions where business owners are trying to go it alone and trying to do everything themselves, because let's face it, like you said, the cloud applications do make it easy for business owners to do just about all of the daily work themselves, if they've got capacity to do so. But I'm a firm believer that you still need an accountant or an advisor to kind of guide you, even if it's just for that check-in on a monthly basis, maybe just to explain the figures. Would you agree with that?
Nicole, I wouldn't agree more. Let's keep it simple. We can all make our own food at home. We can. It's palatable. It's okay. We can deal with it. But it would actually. But we want a situation. It would be brilliant if we could have a instruction delivered to us on a daily basis of all the ingredients and everything, and boom, we create a magnificent meal based on expertise. And that's why I would say having a business advisor and accountant on your side is not a grudge purchase. Let me rephrase that. Most people see it as a grudge purchase. Oh my greatness, I need an accountant for compliance and this is an unnecessary expense. It's not that. You need to have the right mindset when you go to your accountant, and I'll be realistic, you need to choose the right accounting partner as well. You need to have someone there that is going to be holding your hand through the process. They're going to give you that valuable business insight. Yes, you can go to accountants and they're going to give you the compliance work. Okay, yes, here's your VAT. You must pay 200,000 Rand VAT. But you want to be in a situation where you've got that business advisor. They're looking at your debtors, your creditors, your everything, guiding you through the process, being that virtual financial manager, that virtual financial director that a small business can't afford. But if you partner with an accounting firm, they can give you that expertise at a fraction of a cost than what it would be to hire a financial manager or a financial director. So yes, I am adamant that you need to have that business advisor to have long-term growth and to have that expertise and that insight into financial operations.
Yeah,
I
because
agree.
I think we sorry, man. Go for it. Sorry, go for it.
Sorry, Nicole. I think just to add on to what Damien's saying, an accountant or an advisor, they're doing it every day. You know, they're dealing with payroll, they're dealing with SARS, they're dealing with tax. They've seen 100 other similar businesses, 100 of those scenarios play out. When things go wrong, when you need that advice, they've got the wisdom to piggyback off. You know, you don't do payroll every day, you don't submit VAT returns every day as a business owner, and you shouldn't be. There's technicalities in it. If things go wrong, you need to engage with SARS. Kind of spend your time where it's at its best use, and submitting returns and doing payroll, probably not the best way to use your time. You can accumulate knowledge in it and you can look at your reports and go from there, but it helps to have someone that's specialized in it for 10 years. They've seen it 100 other times and they can draw on a wealth of knowledge. You know, if you've got something wrong, you don't consult Google and read a few things and go with that. You visit a doctor. You know, you want that expert's opinion. You visit an attorney. There is benefit in having a professional weigh in on this.
100%, and I think that's where it changes. Even if you're doing some of the work, because I saw that something along those lines coming in through the chat. I think where the accountant comes in is it's that advice, explaining those metrics to you, explaining those reports to you, so that you can understand it and kind of relaying it and telling you what does it mean in terms of your business. And from that aspect, I believe it's very valuable to have the right accounting partner, and where they can really help businesses grow. Let me just see if I've got any more earlier questions. Let me just go back up, because sorry guys, I see we only have 3 minutes. So let me just scroll all the way back up to see if there's still some questions that I haven't answered. Complicated. No. I think the one question that I saw is, so now they've gone and pulled all these metrics, or they've got this dashboard, and I think this is where the accountant comes in. The one question is, what do I do now? How do I interpret that? And guys, I think especially for startups, I would say get into contact with someone who does this, accountant and advisor, so that they can break it down for you and give you that advice. That's what we are for, to tell you, okay, this is what this metric means for your business. This is what you need to do to achieve that business goal. Nobody expects a business owner to be able to answer all these questions. Everybody has expertise in certain fields, so consult that expert so that they can put you on that growth path that you're looking for your business. And then we've got a comment, yeah. It's sometimes depressing to look at the bank balance. I think we all think that, but it needs to be done. And then maybe, yeah, go for it, Van. Will you do a closing comment? We've got 1 minute left.
Once you've got those metrics, use it to sort of set goals. You know, if you're tracking sales, if you're tracking leads, if you're tracking your bank balance, use it for goal setting for yourself for the next month, the next quarter, the next year. In closing, I'd say definitely try get onto a cloud accounting system. It's not just accounting anymore. It's very much operational. You can invoice from your business from it, and the time investment is maybe a few hours to set up, but from there it will be the tiniest part of your day if you can make the move.
Damien, closing thoughts from you?
Nicole, yet again, I'm going to be biased towards cloud accounting, but let's be realistic here. Your cloud accounting system that you're going to choose is a platform for your business. It's a building block for your business. And as Vangelis has said, it is the most important thing to have a proper system set up, and this can help your business grow. You can monitor everything. And what is also important is if you need a proper advisor on your side, go look at it, reassess the situation, and look at the right fit. Is your current accounting system working? If not, change it. Really look at getting the perfect solution to scale your business. You don't want to be in a situation where you're sitting and looking at historical information the whole time. You want to get to a point where you've got live, interactive data that you can use to actually help you grow your business. Yeah, so I would say get yourself a proper accounting system that you can use on a daily basis on your cell phone, anything as a business owner, and get your business going. Thanks, everyone.
Perfect. Thanks so much, guys. I think this has been very valuable. Get those management accounts, get those metrics, get on a cloud platform. Thank you to Van and Damien. You guys have been amazing. I'm sure the Online X guys will be sharing our details. If you have any questions or if you need any advice or you just want to have a chat, feel free to reach out to me or Van and Damien. Happy to help you guys wherever we can. And thank you so much for your time.
The biggest challenge we face, like most of our clients and many other businesses out there, is number one, access to cash. We connected with LulaLend. It was extremely easy to get approval, and the very next day, the cash was in the bank. I would recommend LulaLend because they just get it.
Dex Prepare. Make bookkeeping more profitable. Prepare your accounts automatically. Hours-saving software to automatically fetch all your business data into one single view. Connect to over 1,400 suppliers to automatically fetch invoices, statements and bills. Dex Prepare.